If you've ever been called too intense at work, or difficult, or overly complicated, stay right here. Because what your coworkers labeled a flaw, psychology calls something else entirely. You zone out in meetings. You talk to yourself. Your best ideas hit you in the shower, not at your desk. And no matter how hard you try to just follow the process, your brain won't let you. Here's the truth. Those aren't problems. They're patterns. And once you understand what's behind them, you'll never second guess your work style again. In this video, we're breaking down 10 work habits that look strange on the surface, but are actually indicators of an extremely high IQ. These aren't personality quirks, they're cognitive signatures. The kind of thing intelligence researchers look for, not the kind of thing performance reviews reward. And stay until habit 8, because that one surprises people the most. If you recognize yourself in 5 or more of these, we have something to say to you at the end. Let's get into it. You narrate. You mutter. You explain your own thinking out loud to nobody. And yes, your colleagues have noticed. Some of them find it unsettling. You've probably caught the looks. Here's the thing. Psychologists call this private speech, a concept first studied by Soviet psychologist Lev Vygotsky, who found that self-directed talk is how high-functioning minds guide themselves through complexity. Research published in the Quarterly Journal of Experimental Psychology confirmed it. People who used self-directed speech during tasks significantly outperformed those who worked in silence. When you talk through a problem, you activate your brain's language centers and reasoning centers simultaneously. You're running 2 cognitive systems at once. It's not a quirk, it's parallel processing. The person muttering at their desk isn't losing it. They're thinking harder than everyone else in the room. Your to-do list is more of a suggestion. You'll work on a report, pivot to an email, sketch out an unrelated idea, then come back to the report with a solution you didn't have 20 minutes ago. Rinse, repeat, somehow deliver. People call it a lack of focus. It isn't. It's cognitive flexibility, the ability to shift between mental frameworks without losing the thread. And a 2021 review in Frontiers in Psychology found it's one of the strongest predictors of fluid intelligence, the kind that solves new problems, the kind that sees connections. Others miss. Linear task lists were designed for linear minds. Yours needs to move between contexts to generate its best work. That switching isn't distraction. It's your processing engine doing exactly what it was built to do. New process comes down from leadership. Everyone nods. You ask why. New deadline gets set. You want to know what's actually driving it. A policy makes no logical sense. You say so, out loud, in the meeting. There, I said it. This makes you difficult to manage, but it also makes you right more often than the people managing you. This is first principles thinking, the compulsion to strip a situation down to its foundational logic rather than accepting surface-level instructions at face value. A 2019 study in the Journal of Applied Psychology found that high IQ individuals in structured work environments are significantly more likely to engage in root cause reasoning before executing a task. Your why isn't stubbornness. It's your brain doing exactly what intelligence is designed to do. And the fact that it irritates people says more about the environment than it does about you. Open your work diary after a week of meetings. Spirals, boxes connected by arrows, geometric patterns in the margins. Someone looking over your shoulder would think you weren't listening at all. You were listening better than anyone else in that room. Dr. Jackie Andrade at the University of Plymouth ran the study on this. Doodlers retain 29% more information from verbal conversations than non-doodlers. The reason? Doodling keeps the brain at the exact right level of arousal. Enough stimulation to stop a fast-moving mind from checking out completely, without pulling attention from what's actually being said. For a high IQ brain that processes incoming information faster than most speakers can deliver it, doodling fills the gap. It's not avoidance, it's self-regulation. And it works. You've been stuck on a problem for 3 days. You step away, take a walk, sit down for dinner, stand in the shower, and there it is, fully formed. You reach for your phone before it disappears. This isn't luck. When you step away from a problem, your brain shifts into what neuroscientists call the default mode network, the set of brain regions that activate during rest and mind wandering. Far from being idle, this is where your brain makes its most creative long-range connections, drawing links between information stored in completely separate mental compartments. Research from UC Santa Barbara found that people who allowed their minds to wander showed significantly higher rates of insight on problems they'd previously been stuck on. High IQ individuals show stronger default mode network activation. Your brain doesn't stop working when you stop trying. It goes deeper. The shower isn't where you get lazy. It's where your brain finally gets the silence it needs. The kickoff meeting is electric. The plan looks clean. Everyone's dividing responsibilities. And you're sitting there thinking, this falls apart at step 4. Nobody's accounted for the handoff between teams. This timeline is fiction by week 3. You don't always say it. You've learned not to. Because the last time you flagged something this early, someone called you negative. So now you stay quiet and watch it happen exactly the way you said it would. This is pattern recognition, one of the primary cognitive abilities measured in high IQ assessments. High IQ brains process the structure of a situation faster and more automatically than average. They don't analyze the plan step by step. They see its shape. And the flaws register before conscious reasoning has even started. Your ability to spot the problem before it becomes the problem isn't pessimism. It is one of the most valuable cognitive skills in any workplace. Most organizations just don't know what to do with it. Can we move the deadline to Friday? A normal person says yes or no. You say, it depends. Are we talking about the internal draft or the client version? Because if it's the client version, design needs feedback by Wednesday, which means copy needs to be done by Tuesday, which means this conversation needed to happen yesterday, not today. The person who asked just wanted a yes or no, but you couldn't give them one because the simple answer was factually incomplete, and your brain will not let you give an incomplete answer. High IQ individuals have a lower tolerance for oversimplification. Their minds automatically surface exceptions, dependencies, and edge cases that others don't register as relevant. It looks like overcomplication. It is actually the only accurate model of reality in the room. The workplace was designed for the average. It was never designed for you. Your colleagues who have been plodding along at a steady pace all day wonder why you've suddenly gone quiet. Your manager, who measures productivity by visibility, isn't sure what to make of you. You look inconsistent. You are not. Hungarian-American psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying peak human performance and named what you're experiencing. Flow. A state of total absorption where cognitive function operates at its absolute ceiling. His research showed this is where humans produce their highest quality work, and that it is metabolically expensive. After a true flow state, your brain needs recovery, the same way muscles do after real exertion. The issue was never your output. It's that your output doesn't look the way people expect it to. A 5-person meeting to discuss something that could have been a 2-line message. A sign-off process that routes through 4 people when 1 would do. A form that asks for the same information you submitted in 3 other places. For most people, mild annoyance. For you, almost physically irritating. You find yourself mentally redesigning the broken process while you're supposed to be executing it. You raise it with your manager. They say that's just how it works here. That answer is genuinely, deeply unsatisfying. And you can't pretend otherwise. This is systems thinking, the cognitive tendency to perceive processes as interconnected wholes and immediately identify friction and redundancy. Research in organizational psychology consistently finds that systems thinking correlates strongly with general intelligence. When something is broken, your brain flags it the way a spell checker flags a typo, automatically, repeatedly, and with increasing urgency the longer it goes unfixed. Your frustration isn't impatience. It's your standards being higher than the environment around you. After a mistake, you don't just feel it. You reconstruct it. You trace the reasoning that led to the wrong call and note where the logic broke down. Not as self-punishment, as data. Developmental psychologist John Flavel coined the term for this in 1979, metacognition, thinking about thinking. The ability to observe your own mind from a kind of internal distance. Subsequent research has consistently shown that metacognitive awareness predicts long-term intellectual performance more reliably than raw IQ scores alone, because a person who can observe their own reasoning can correct it. You're not overthinking. You're running quality control on your own mind. That's rare, and it compounds over time in ways most people never experience. How many did you recognize? 5? 7? All 10? If the answer is 5 or more, congratulations. And we mean that sincerely. Not because having a high IQ makes you better than anyone else, but because the habits we've just described, the ones that have probably caused you friction, self-doubt, or a performance review you didn't see coming, are not flaws. They are the surface expression of a mind that is genuinely wired differently. The muttering, the doodling, the relentless why, the burst working, the ideas in the shower. Stop apologizing for them, understand them, name them, and then build an environment where they work for you. Because the people who actually change things were rarely the ones who worked in a straight line. If this video gave you something to think about, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And the next video goes even deeper. It's already waiting for you.